Hey guys, Amanda Solis from the Growth Syndicate. In a world of tailored traditions, one woman dared to rewrite the rules. Alexandra Wood, the first female tailor to break through Savile Row's ironclad boys club, standing 6'1" and refusing to blend in. From battling childhood bullies to building a fashion empire with nothing but raw passion and unstoppable drive, she's not just making suits, she's making history. Imagine turning your wildest dreams into reality, smashing every expectation, and doing it with style. This isn't just another success story. This is a masterclass in believing in yourself when no one else will. Alexandra Wood's journey will fire you up, make you laugh, and show you that the only limits are the ones you accept. Listen now and get ready to be inspired. Success is a system where extraordinary stories become your roadmap to greatness.
So when I was 16 and onwards until about 20, I worked for a temping agency, and they would send me to Harvey Nichols, Harrods.
Right.
It was awful. Sorry, Harrod.
Change is good. Nobody likes change, but it's necessary. And what do they say? You can like change or hate change, but change is going to happen.
And you don't want to do it for free. And actually a lot of creative people do it free. And I'm always like, value yourself, come on.
And I guess that helps because you are known for challenging norms, for trying to find individual styles, for sort of respecting heritage, but not necessarily going with the flow.
I came home and I went, I've got a place. My mum went, oh, don't say that just in case. I went, I've got it. And the next week letter came, I went, I told you I got it. And sometimes that's seen as arrogance. Just
back to that naivety, but it's...
I want to be there, I am there.
Yeah, it's a visuality, it's all those positives. Welcome back to another episode of Success is a System. Today we're in Sartoria in Savile Row. Beautiful restaurant, beautiful street, lots of history, lots of heritage. We're here with Alexandra Wood, Alex Wood, who was the first female tailor of men's clothing in Savile Row, is that right?
Yeah, so it's interesting. My dad always says, you need to tell people you're not actually, you're not a tailor, because they'll think you're just sewing on a button. Yeah. Yeah,
no, much more than that. And we're going to get into your journey, but, obviously you've been fashion, started off from shopping experiences with your dad, which I was reading about, which I want to get into a little bit more, because what I always like to start with is people say, what's the secret of success often? And I think the first thing is to find something you're passionate about, because I think if you find your passion, you find your purpose, or sometimes it's the other way around, you find your purpose, you find your passion. But without one or both of them, I don't think you can be successful. Yeah. And so many people, sometimes it's later in life before they find their passion, sometimes it's really young. But Let's go back there, shall we? When did you realise you liked clothing and you liked men's clothing, particularly more than women, or did it not go like that? Tell us a little bit about your early passion and excitement about clothing.
Yeah, so apparently since the age of 3 or 4, my mum would put my clothes on the bed and I'd be like, I'm not wearing that. Precocious little child. And I'd put them back and I was like, no, this is what I want to wear type thing. So it started very young. And then for some random reason, my parents had these books on the royal family lying around the house. And I was obsessed with them. My mum's like, I don't know why, because we're not royalist at all. I don't even know where they came from. But every night I would just like my fantasy world going through these books. And I just loved that you could essentially create a whole different world by how you dress. And it wasn't necessarily men or women. I just loved the whole kind of theatre around it. And hop, skip and jump. When I was 14 at school, now I think I have ADHD because I was just always find it very hard to concentrate at school.
Yeah.
It's a lot of topics anyway, and I said to my dad, I think I'm done with this. And I was 14.
Yeah, 14, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't leave school. I carried on. But I said, I just want to set up my business and hire and fire people. I think that's what I thought business was about.
Was your dad a businessman or your mum a business person?
No, my dad was director of education, so he had that business element to it. And my mum sadly had really bad depression, possibly ADHD, bipolar. So she just found it very difficult to hold down anything. And she was always kind of like, wow, you just want to do everything. I was asking to do circus training. I went to Silver Young Theatre School. I was like, anything.
All creative stuff, though, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, let me at it. When I said about the business at 14, my dad said, well, I don't know if it quite works like that. And I said, but I just want to do it. But I didn't know what in. But I knew it would be fashion. And like I've always said, I want to be in fashion, but I don't want to work for a fashion house where people are just a little bit bitchy and not discrediting all have fashion brands.
There are non-bitchy fashion brands.
But I like one-to-ones. I like smaller, intimate groups. So working for a massive company of loads of people, I think, would have been over. It just wasn't what I wanted to do. And I just decided that's the right thing would call me. And it kind of did, really.
And you sort of mentioned possible ADHD and the like, and wanting to get into business. Those are early passions, frustrations. What was school like for you, though? Did you enjoy it? Was it positive? Did you like academia? Sounds like you're more creative than that side.
Yeah, I've always been a little bit of a joker, so I liked making people laugh. I should have been a comedian.
You ever tried it?
No, only friends and family, who I make laugh every day. But no, everyone's like, oh, you should just try stand-up. And I was like, no, because apparently you've got to be depressed to do stand-up.
A lot of people are, a lot of them aren't.
So yeah, I was always just like really happy and upbeat, but I got bullied because I'm 6'1", and it's like, what's the weather like up there? And it's very damaging. I'm quite a sensitive person.
I got it for being short, so you can't win, can you? What's the perfect?
Exactly. So, but I went on and kind of felt tortured and felt all, victim-y as you do. And then I thought, I'm not having this anymore. And punched the guy in the face. Because I thought, no one's going to listen to me. I got internally suspended, and but it was great fun. I spent the day with cool sixth formers, so I was like, we can upgrade me here if you want.
Yeah.
So it was kind of tough, enjoyable, but I've always lived a lot of my life in my own head. So 14, you wanted to be in business. You knew it'd be fashion. Yeah.
Did that drive you to sixth form, uni? Where did you go with school?
I did go to sixth form. I think at that point I was just trying to follow the normal route, because how do you know what else to do? And things like apprentices, from my knowledge, wasn't really there. So I did art, media studies, and English language. And my idea was that I was going to be a journalist. And my mum said, I think you'd find, I was going to do linguistics. So she said, I did that. She said, you find it god awful. So I thought, oh, okay, good point. So I took a year off after A-levels, went to Australia on my own. And my mum went to Camberwell for me because I'd applied to do textiles. And she said, oh, you've got an interview, but your interview's when a lot of stuff happened where my mum dealt with stuff while I was away. It's quite funny. And she took all my sketchbooks in. I was like, I've got this one, that one. Can you just take it in for me? Represent me. I'm going to get this place. It's going to happen. My mum was like, okay, yeah, I think I've got it all. She did my interview for
fantastic.
me.
I didn't realise you could even do that.
I know. I said, we just got to make it work. And I got in.
Well done.
And that's kind of where that sort of started, on the education front. And I loved texture and colour. I thought, this is great. And then I went on to fashion, styling, photography. Basically, anything to do with the topic, I was like, I just want to be educated on it. And the styling helps with the vision, photography for a lens. It's a whole different picture.
But from a quick glimpse, you didn't go for going to Gap or Next or that. It was always going to be the sort of high end, the leading fashion, was it? Or
well, so when I was 16 and onwards until about 20, I worked for a temping agency, and they would send me to Harvey Nichols, Harrods.
Right.
It was awful. Sorry, Harrod. Selfridges, etc. I really loved Harvey Nichols, but at this point, this is where I learnt that luxury is overall quite snooty, and that as a salesperson or, just working on the shop floor, you are meant to be down here, which is quite hard for me being 6'1", but mentally. And the celebs, the wealthy people were up here and you're meant to be their servant. And I was like, don't like that. And I remember saying to a client...
Well, I don't suppose they like it, do they? I mean, most of them probably want someone to be real, and they you know, celebs probably get servile behaviour all the time, and they just want to be treated normally. I've always thought.
Exactly. And you'd have like Kate Moss, Claudia Schiffer, Carol Vorderman came up to the till, and she said she was speaking to Richard. What's his surname? I can't remember, from Countdown.
Okay, yeah.
And he obviously said, "Are you shopping again?" And she said, "Yeah." She goes, "Can't you hear the tills beeping?" And she went, "Oh, so could you make the tills beep?" And I went, "Beep, beep, beep." You know, she went, "Oh, thank you." You know, so they actually all wanted fun. And I was up for it, because I thought I don't want to be that stuffy person. So I would just always do my own thing. And it was lovely, because I won awards, and they're like, you've done the best, you know, because people love coming to see you. And that kind of like formed the fun side of what I do now. But I loved the high quality, the high end of beautiful.
And at that stage, would you be like selling in the sense of giving them what they wanted, or would you already be starting to advise or recommend or see what you thought would be best for them? Because it's much more than just selling stuff. It's about style, advisory, and everything else, isn't it?
Yeah, and actually a new client earlier said something to me which really resonated from back when I was at Harvey Nichols, and he said, "I see you like as a very honest person." He said it wasn't a trick, by the way, but he said he put his new Edward Greene shoes on the table. He'd worn them, so it's not bad. And I was advising him what suit fabric to go with it. And he said, "Could I wear these shoes with this fabric?" And I went, "Not really." And he said, "I appreciate the fact that you didn't go, yeah, because I'd want that." And he said, "It wasn't a trick."
Yeah.
And I said, "I'm not a yes person." He said, "I can see you're very honest and gentle." And I was like, that's what I like, because it actually makes me cringe if you're just going, "That looks amazing." And it's like, just don't look round and look at the back. You know, it's just horrible.
But you weren't rude either. It was just not really, you know.
So it's about replacing it for a different idea. Just, you're not going, "Idiot, you look like a moron." But it's kind of...
Your mind might say that, but you don't let it come out.
Yeah. And with ADHD, that's tough.
Yeah.
No, but I would just go, "Do you know what would look really cool on you?" Because, and give a reason for it, you know, because your skin tone's like this, that would like make you look gorgeous. And then...
And do you, when someone, I mean, I am behavioural profiler, I can't turn that off. So I kind of profile people from the handshake, the eye contact, the colours, all of these things. And in retail, I did that for many decades in terms of advisory, store design and everything. I'd walk in and I could feel... almost, it was instantaneous. I could see the lighting was wrong, or the layout was wrong, or the flow, and all this. Do you get the same as well when someone walks in? Do you see what you think is going to be what they should be wearing? Is it instant, or do you?
Instant.
Yeah.
I would say it's like a weird superpower. Someone's talking to me.
Sorry, I've got it all wrong.
We'll work for any base.
Yeah, thank you.
But pictures come up in my mind. And, you know, I can almost feel... I think this is the good side, if there was a good side. So my mum being, as she was through my childhood, is you learn to read signals and tiptoe around. So you're always absorbing really what someone's really feeling, because you have to be so, like, astute to it.
Yeah.
So when people are going, "Right, I'm going to tell you what I do and don't like," I say, "I know. I already know. I know how you want to look. I know how you want to feel. Not that I'm not listening or sort of asking them more questions. I need to know where they're going to spend their time, but I know what's important to them.
Yeah.
That's for sure." And so, pictures pop up in my head, and I've created an entire wardrobe for someone in 1 hour. And they approved it.
And is it often... I assume sometimes they're coming in and they're wearing, say, what they believe Savile Row or the financial district or the golfing community expect them to, and you've got to or want to say, "I don't think that's right for you." Do you get straight to it, or do you kind of ease them in gently, or how do you approach someone who's got it all wrong, and tell them without offending them?
So I think they're there because they kind of know they have got it all wrong or want to do something better. You know, some people come in and they've used other tailors before, and I don't want to be judgy or talking badly about other tailors, but and they go, what do you think? You know, sometimes with pride, and I say, it's good for purpose, but I said, what I would do is this, that, and the other. But it's about kind of, understanding that, but they have come there to essentially...
And I guess that helps because you are known for challenging norms, for trying to find individual styles, for sort of respecting heritage, but not necessarily going with the flow.
Yeah.
Obviously, that is a journey that you've been on, and people now know it, so they probably come to you for it. But were you always like that? Did that evolve? Or did you find yourself at a point where you think, I can't do this anymore, you know, selling that shit that I don't like or whatever, or telling them that looks great when it don't? Were you always that honest?
Well, any time, and I think it's probably happened 4 times in 18 years, so that's quite good. When I've kind of gone fine, it's always gone wrong. And they've said, I should have listened to you. And I said, I should have been more forthright. Right. I shouldn't let you do that. But I have 100% guarantee this to the sales. But I basically say, if you don't love it, I will remake it for you, because it's rather a long-term relationship. And I said, don't worry about it. I'll make you something different. Oh, that was really nice. It's like, well, you have spent money on it. So, but yeah, so it's just, that's what they're there for. I think there's so much videos, they kind of know what they got. Like a guy said earlier, so I feel like I know you already because
they've seen all your content and your magazines, because you've been in. I mean, tell us. You said it's not an advert, but chance to promote yourself. Tell us, you've been in Forbes, Esquire, GQ. Tell us about the exposure you've got and what led to that, because often it feels like, certainly as you come up Savile Row, everyone's trying to be understated. Everyone's trying to kind of keep it quiet, keep it below. Yeah. How did you start to get that level of publicity and recognition? Where did that come from?
I think a bit of luck and naivety. I know the whole business was, and even down to the client, it's like, going back to your last question, it's excitingness. I'm like, oh yes, I can't wait. You have no idea how cool you can look. Yeah. So yeah, my business was kind of born just with excitement. But first and foremost, it was basically that I didn't want to go back into the city. Monday to Friday, I'd just had a baby. So my baby was born with my business. And so there was no maternity leave. I was like, this has got to happen. My husband, my first husband, he didn't earn that much, so I had to match up the mortgage. So it wasn't a case of like, oh, I'm going to dalliance, have my little baby. It was like, I've got to go for it, and there's no sitting around. So I had about £500 spare maternity pay, and I was like, what do I do? Get a website. The ugliest website.
So had you decided while you were pregnant that you was going to go on your own, or was it a kind of can't go back to the job?
Yeah, they wanted me to head up the female tailoring department, which I didn't want to do because I actually loved working with the guys. And I didn't want to work Monday to Friday. I, funny enough, think of it as a sign, but I had an incorrect invoice, like it was for someone else for a nursery bill. And that 18 years ago, it was like $2,000 a month or something. I was like, whoa, geez. Yeah. And I was like, okay, that's made up because I can't do that. And so I will set up this business. So thank you for that random letter coming from a post to alert me to the prices of mad nurseries where you don't even see your child. So yeah, just set this website up for £500. It looked like a Laura Ashley brochure. No disrespect to Laura Ashley, but it wasn't exactly for my niche. I didn't even think about like, okay, who's my audience? And it's a man, so it's got to be blue. Didn't think of it. I was like, want to do it, just do it. And my parents have always laughed. They're just like, you think of an idea and off you go. You've done it.
Did you fail at all, or was it immediate success?
Well, I just didn't think about it. It wasn't like, right, I need to be loaded by next week and have 20 million clients. I had a giant graphite Motorola mobile.
All right.
That sounds like I'm
Yeah,
ancient
no, I know them.
And I gave it to my mum.
Shoulder straps on.
Yeah, like car phone. I gave it to my mum and I said, I'm going away for 2 weeks to Spain. I put my website live. I don't think anyone's going to call me, but I don't want to take calls there because I'm an executive now. Sound like a 10-year-old making a sweet shop. So can you answer it for me? And I did not think anyone would call. And I came home, she said, oh, a barrister from St Albans called and he wants a suit, maybe couple. I went, oh, God. And I said, when was that? She said, oh, last week. So probably like midway through your holiday. I was like, oh, I might have lost it now. Yeah. Called him. He said, yeah, I'm still interested. So he was my first client.
And was this, were you working from home or did you have a
I was
shop
working from a sofa at that point.
Oh, right, fantastic.
Yeah, no shop, no.
So when you said about the size of the phone, I thought you can't be old enough. But how long ago was this? Then?
It was 18 years ago.
18 years ago,
yeah.
wow.
So I was 26.
So online and that kind of e-commerce was still really quite new then. It wasn't, mostly people went to shops still, didn't they?
Yeah, definitely. And I was just thinking, I actually tried when I was 24 and I was like, what am I meant to do? Walk around with an A-board, yellow pages. I mean, I know websites, I'd absolutely clueless. So I just thought I'll just try and let's see. Then my next client was Chukaramuna, and that's then everything started to change. He
was an up-and-coming Labour MP, wasn't he? I don't know what happened to him. He seemed like he was going to be destined to be PM at one point. But...
Well, I saw him last week, so I know just what he's up to.
We could swap him out in a minute. I think a lot of people would be happy. But no, I don't do politics. I'm not allowed.
So he was my next client, and everyone was like, God, well, he looks great as a politician, so if you can make me look like him. I was like, well, I can't do miracles, but so then he was on telly all the time because obviously at that point he was headed to be the Prime Minister. So he was in Esquire, GQ, and he just always mentioned me, which was amazing. And then the next moment was Tony Parsons was GQ columnist. And a friend of mine called me and said, bloody hell, she went, you've got a 2-page spread all about you. I went, where? And she went, GQ. She went, did you not know? I went, what? I better go and buy it then. Yeah. And praise about me. I was like, oh my God. And inquiries.
And have you ever asked any of these with a barrister or Chuka or Tony what it was? Because obviously lots of people think they're going to be the next big thing or that. But it sounds like, and you used the word, so I won't offend you by saying it, that you were just naive to it to some degree.
Yeah.
But have you ever asked them, what was it that made you look at my website and want to come? Because I'm assuming you'd just almost thrown it together somewhat, just following what you liked.
Yeah.
What do they say is the thing?
I think then, and I wrote loads of blogs. It was one of those random things. I was like, what do I do? Oh, I think I'll just write blogs. I'll write about things that I think should be talked about in men's tailoring, and then I'd have clients comment and say, oh, you said you would go for metal side straps over belt loops. Quickly scroll through my blogs, did I? Okay. So I just started writing about it. So I think it was my kind of commentary on tailoring that was of interest rather than my ugly Laura Ashley website. And I'd say that was the thing. They liked the way I talk about it.
Were you critical about, in your style, were you talking about just what you liked, or were you critical of the way things were or had been or norms at that point?
Yeah, I'm not critical as a person at all, because I think that kind of makes you a bit snotty. I'm just...
So there's no fashion arrogance in there then?
It's not like, oh my God. I'm just like, these are the things I personally think make you look better. There's no interest for me, like, just because I have to win my tailoring ego war. It's just like, I want you to look cool, and they're the things that I visually think are the best option, but it's the choice.
And when did the Savile Row ambition or decision come about? How did it come about? Tell us about the challenges, because it sounds like the Savile Row Mafia were against you. Well, not Mafia. What is it called? The Savile Row Association?
Yeah. I mean, I it was pretty much naivety all the way through to probably about 7 years ago, because I wasn't like, right, my next goal is Savile Row, I'm going to do it, which is, I read your comment on the group the other day about, the strategy versus, what was the intent?
Intent versus goal.
Yeah, and I had neither.
Right.
I was just like, it kind of happened. I was like, well, I know this is the next step. I know I need to kind of do this. So I've very much been heart-led on the things I feel I want to do. I am very heart on my sleeve. If I don't feel in my gut that something's right, I'm just not doing it.
Yeah.
So there was I have no kind of, it's not.
So it's not about the money.
No, I wasn't. I really don't think you can do this. You have, and just be obsessed with the money. You have to love what you're creating.
Well, it's interesting you say that, though, because I've been entrepreneur in residence at a couple of business centres and everything from sort of 16-year-olds doing their GCSEs through. And there is a bit of a challenge. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. And when you say why, it nearly always is, want to be a millionaire. It's a money. And yet I then, on the podcast, talk to people like yourself or Charlie Mullins or Kevin, and never do they say it was the money. I mean, the money was, maybe there was an expectation that they should earn what they deserve, but it was never, I'm going to get to this goal. And if it was a goal, it was to be the most popular at this, the most successful at that. It's seldom in those real success story journeys do I hear monetary mountains. Their Everest is to win this award, to win that race, to be recognised as this, to be respected for that. And so I mention it because people all want to set monetary goals, but the people that are most successful aren't the ones who set monetary goals.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't want to do it for free. And actually a lot of creative people do it free. And I'm always like, value yourself, come on.
Well, that's why I say it's an expectation, not a motivation. But.
Yeah. But I'd say, like, in the beginning, I was kind of, right, I just need to meet that part of the mortgage. That'd be great. And I could probably do like 2 or 3 suits a week, so it's just sort of like, oh, how do I do that? But essentially you have to kind of just believe that they'll find you, because you can't just go hunting people and go, oh, I've just decided I'm going to have 3 clients this week. You have to do stuff to attract people to you. Money can't be the defining thing. I was just obsessed with the vision, but then you kind of get more savvy around it and realise that actually you've built credibility and you deserve to be paid more because you're offering a lot of value to the certain people who can afford it. And if you charge too little, it'd look a bit odd. They'd be like, well, what's wrong with you? So it's kind of all...
well, and that's an interesting point as well. And I often talk to businesses about price versus value. Because, Ferrari can be good value if it makes you feel $1 million and so on. But equally... really cheap, it can be bad because I used to do a lot of research around the world on price sensitivity, price elasticity, because certainly big corporates that I used to work with, it's all about that. In oil companies, 1 pence price difference per litre can be billions. So 1 pence less, they lose a lot. 1 pence more, they make a lot. And then we'd look at price of milk. How does it compare between this discounter, this retailer, this supermarket, this convenience store, this petrol station? And it comes down to, in its simplest form, and sort of amassing like hundreds of thousands of data points, but it's essentially the benefits I receive for the burdens I endure. And benefits might be speed of service, they might be quality of service, they might be where it makes me feel, I just love the people in there. It might be it's just around the corner. So it's a combination of all of these things, but not charging enough cost me a 2-country oil company deal with Total Oil once, literally because I didn't charge enough. And I asked Martin Alford, who was the guy at the time, why didn't I get it? I thought they really liked what I did. He said they did, but and this is going back 28 years. And I was suggesting £600 a day, which is a fair bit then. And he said they just assumed you weren't big enough at that price, Mike. They assumed that you would be kind of like one-man band and everything else. And I thought, Jesus Christ, there's thousands of days there I could have charged. Didn't get it because I didn't charge enough. So price is really important. but it's not the be all and end all. It's relative to your self-value and the quality that you're giving, but also the quality they perceive they're getting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess. But
and also, if you charge more, you charge your worth, you charge the product's worth, the experience. I don't want to work with thousands of clients. I'd rather have more, less, and look after them properly in a really classy way, and where they're now recommending their clients, because we do it much broader. We're not just suits. We do a very expansive.
And clearly, putting two and two together, you talk about Chukwuemeka. I think when he was real highlight in politics, it was probably 10, 15 years ago, and you said you saw him the other day. So it's not just about numbers of clients; it's about the lifetime value of a client and building that relationship where they come back again and again and again and again and tell other people about you, I guess.
Yeah, and I've really, because I always liked people, but in the beginning, I think I was chaotic because I thought I can do everything. I could be my admin assistant, I can do the marketing, and I literally had a team meeting yesterday, and I said, do you know what? Because I've recently had severe neck pain, and it's just been completely debilitating. I feel good today. And last week I said, I was so grateful for you two. I said, I'm always grateful for you. But do you know what? I used to do both of your roles and mine. And there's just no way I could have done it last week. No way. I would have been floored. And they're like, oh, and they're like, I can't believe you did it all. And I said, it's mad. I said, it's not a badge of honour, but you think that's the way it has to be.
But also that's another quality of leadership, of winners, entrepreneurs, whatever labels want to give people, is they never forget their journey, and they always remember people, and it's about the people, and it comes through again and again that the way that you treat people, getting the best people, getting rid of people who look like they're the best, but they were on paper a pedigree or a thoroughbred, but they turned out to be a nag. And dealing with that quickly, because one person can make a business or break a business in terms of that dynamic.
Definitely.
How have you dealt with the people side before? And have you had some bad or some good examples?
Oh, God, yeah. I have such a great team now, thank God. Because I've hired people, I think, because I had a lack of self-belief in myself. So I was kind of attracting people of the similar, and I was like, and again, going back to my childhood, being very people pleaser, really I really want to make her happy, to give her this job.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I don't think about that now. It's like, what's the best for my business? So I was exactly. This is my business. What the hell am I doing? And now they're very conscientious, my executive assistant. I was like, let's develop our app. And I said, actually, we could ask this guy to help us do that. And she was like, no, we don't need to spend money on that. I'll look at seeing if I can do that. So they're always thinking, how can we grow? How can we keep things tight so that we're, our margins are better?
They're not just doing a job, they're thinking the brand and everything.
Yeah.
Winning teams only have the best people. They don't have average people, and they don't put up with people who have lost their mojo or that. They might try and fix that, but getting great people is really crucial. And getting people who give a shit.
Yeah,
because that's the other thing.
It drags your soul down, and then you're like, why? And then you spend half your day thinking, why the hell does anyone care as much? No one will ever care as much as the founder. Yeah. I think everyone knows that. But they do care. My marketing assistant says, why is there another bloody bank holiday? She's like, so annoying. And I can tell that when I message her, she's like, piss off, Alex, I've got stuff to do. Because I'll be like, just having a chat.
But it's about real people, because families are like that. Families talk straight, feel safe enough to upset you, even though they never intend to upset you. And I think, why are people so different in work? We spend more time at work often than we do with our loved ones. So why would you create an environment where you can't be who you are?
I agree. And I tell them I love them and value them like I tell my family. It's literally it's just... pretty much is, because you live and breathe your business. There's no switching off, so I want them to feel valued. I said I will never be that person who, as the business grows and grows, which it has, and gone, thanks for making me rich. I think you have to value them all within the realms of their role, because you're not going to pay excessive amounts just because they're great.
It's interesting you talk about the rich thing, because I look at different people, and I'm always interested in the community they build around them. And it's different when you're sort of getting to your first million, or your first million a month, or then your first million of profit, or, you know, all these different milestones. And it's not about the money, but that money brings security for the brand and the team and the people and everything else. But one of the things I always look at with entrepreneurs that are at that kind of centimillion and billion level is how many people around them also became wealthy, also got their dream, and so on. And you know, people could check themselves. I wouldn't want to talk about anybody, but you can see really quickly, they brought 4 people with them. Yeah. Well, I love the McDonald's story. I mean, the founder editorial license makes him look really awful. But when you read earlier iterations that weren't about creating a film, his PA became a multimillionaire. The guy who helped him with the bread rolls, when he first went into a second country, he funded him to set a bakery up there. You know,
that's what we want.
Literally every supplier he worked with or partner he worked with, he took on the journey, and they grew with him, and that was part of his family. So it was like a tribe of success. It wasn't an individual success, and yet so many people milk others, and I think they hit a level at the end of the day. They got to live with themselves. They often end up like I'm trying to choose my words carefully. I don't know why I never should, but a litany of broken marriages and you know, kids that don't want to talk to them.
They're
and
the narcissistic folk.
You know,
plenty of those around.
It's really sad, and it's probably a nice segue, although slightly awkward. Let's come back to Savile Row. Why did you feel the need to come into Savile Row, and what was it like cold from the beginning because you were a woman? Even assuming she could come into Savile Row and do this. Tell us about that story.
I'm no surprise that, again, naivety. Because I wasn't, Savile Row, that's it. This is the destination. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. I've heard Savile Row, that's the destination to go. That's
and globally respected, of course.
Yeah. And my grandparents lived in Jermyn Street. So, you know, I was always kind of in and around this area. They were quite fancy. And I thought, that looks nice and snooty.
Yeah. Well done. Lovely.
No, but I mean, it's the, you know, tiniest little place, but it has the best tailoring. And I thought, well, I don't want to be mediocre, this or that, so let's go for that then.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of got named for it, you know, the PR runs with it. So I tend to say, you know, I am Savile Row's first female founder of Busy Successful Men, because I'm always like, you know, there are different terminologies for all these things, and, you know, of course made into a thing, but it's a bit like you just want to be known for my talents rather than the label. But
also it is, if you're a mountaineer, you'd want to do Everest. If you're an athlete, you'd want a gold medal. Yeah. It is the kind of pinnacle of what someone would go for if they wanted to be in fashion, isn't it, I guess?
Yeah, exactly. So, and then it just kind of evolved, you know, and then people ask, oh, why? And I said, it was just considered the best of the best. And then people would say, oh, you're quite disruptive. Well, I never classed myself as a disruptive person because I'm charming. But that sounds like you just come in and you want to just get on everyone's nerves. And I'm definitely not that person. It's just like, no. But actually, since then, it's, like talking on that panel, it's more about that you're just doing things a little bit differently rather than you're trying to be annoying. So my clients were just saying, I love the fact that you're a woman, you have a, you know, female perspective that you guide. You've obviously got a great eye because you make people look cool, because you kind of got to tick a lot of boxes. You know, I'm kind of put myself out. I'm not just saying I'm the best tailor in the world and I'm going to make you the best suit you've seen live. I'm saying I can transform you. I'll select out of billions of fabrics the best ones for you, for your lifestyle, the colours, and make you look great. You know, that's a big task on me, and I have to fulfil it because, you know. Well,
and also it's interesting. I mean, there's a couple of things in there, and I'd seen either a post or read recently about you saying that piece around, I'm not going to bring loads of books out. I mean, literally, I went to. I can't remember that. I went to a charity thing and I bought this like fitted suit thing, and I'd been to a good tailor called McCann Bespoke, and anyway, this one begins with A, Apsley, I think it was. And I went, and they brought out these things, and I thought, I don't know what bloody material I want, and it's like, my driver's outside. I'm a bit busy. Yeah. What do you think? You know, it's like, what's popular at the minute? Oh, well, you know, any of the... Yeah. And it was almost too much choice. Yes. People want choice, but I'd rather choose out of 3 or 4 than 3 or 400. Yeah. And it took away all the pleasure I'd had before of going to that kind of shopping experience.
Definitely. So, yeah, I always start my journey with a client on an online call, because I want to meet the person first, ask the questions and prepare for when I see them. So when they come to see me, number one, they feel like they've already met me, they know me, so that part's kind of chilled. It's just like, how you doing? Like your background, like your garden, that's cool. Is that your cat? You know, before even actually talking about they want a tour, because then they're like, okay, cool.
Yeah. People do business with people.
Yeah. And then I'm like, right, I've got it. And then if they're having like a full wardrobe, I'll send them a sample mood board, which is like the vibe. And at that point, they could be like, well, she's got no vision at all, and go cancel. But thank God, they go, I love this. Jesus, if you can make me look like this guy.
So just picking up on that, is there almost a part of your process that will flush out someone who won't like what you do? Because, you know, when you send that mood board, if they didn't like it, even though it's what you believe was right, would you then rather not work with them, or would you?
No, they tend to say, like, sometimes, well, I work with a lot of lawyers and financiers, so they're very logically minded, whereas I'm like, you know, there's flexibility and scope. Not saying that they're not flexible, but well, I am. But they'll take it literally. So they'll be like, I don't know if I like burgundy, and I don't know if I like that fabric. I said, it's a vibe, it's a mood, it's to just give you an idea of what I'm thinking. But the exact fabrics and all these things are to be covered. Okay, cool, that's fine then.
Oh, right.
But on the website, I guess it gives a good idea of what my style is. So if it was like...
If it was too far out, they wouldn't be attracted in the first place. But you also talked about disruptive. I mean, ADHD, we tend to like throw things in the air anyway, don't we? But it's interesting because it's become a popular word in entrepreneurialism, but also it's a very negative word. I mean, to me, I think change is good. Nobody likes change, but it's necessary. And what do they say? You can like change or hate change, but change is going to happen. The word disruptive tends to put barriers up. But if we never change, we do end up with things that never change. And we were talking a little bit earlier, and it reminded me as a trustee of Peterborough Cathedral, which I love. I mean, it's the heart of our city, and it attracts people of all faiths. So it's not just, primarily it's Church of England, but everyone's welcome, and they do lots of multi-faith events and so on. But when I was a trustee, I really struggled because there was too many people seeing something as disruptive when really it was evolution. It was, I love heritage, I love history, but if it's bloody cold and boring and outdated and not relevant to the younger generation or people coming through, is it any surprise that we are aging a congregation because there's no one being attracted to that level because we're not resonant or relevant to them anymore? And I think every business sector has people who are so dug in to the way it's been done that they become outdated and go bust because of it. Yeah. Would you say that is that we're like that, or is it just on a journey of change? And you may be the person who's the catalyst to help that change, bring about that change, or do you think you need to move somewhere else because it's? Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to move just around the corner. I've got my eyes on somewhere. Okay. But there's a couple of tailors who are edging it up, like Oswald Boateng brought about colour, etc., but it still suits. I think what essentially I'm creating, not concierge, but it's a 360 view of men's. It's an ecosystem. It's a lifestyle versus, so Savile Row is the origins, but actually, do I want to continue pushing that as a narrative for the rest of the time, probably not, because I think what we do is so much more fuller. Like our clients are now saying
whole life rather than just business. Or right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, so if you're literally thinking top here, right to bottom, you know, there's a lot of things they want our help with. From what's a good haircut for me? You know, well, you're bald, so you're probably going to have to stick with that.
But I hadn't really thought about that in terms of if fashion is about how you feel, how you look, it would be all of those things, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and then because you become like a friend, and I'm very grateful, huge amount of repeat clients. Like my assistant says, I can't believe how frequently people come back. And I had plenty of clients say it's probably going to be my only suit. So, you know, just to let you know, oh, here you are again. I think you told me this 10 years ago. And they're like, well. And you know, the best marketing is recommendation. Do you do much marketing, or is it mostly that you create super fans that will market for you? Yeah, well, I said to a lovely client the other day, because I said, you look so good, like, oh. And he was like, I think you're just saying it. I was like, no, genuinely look hot. And I said, you know, if you like to tell your friends, because I don't like pushing, though you have to do what they want to do. And he goes, I'm not giving away my secret. I don't want competition. Yeah. So it's tricky when you're doing the full wardrobe, because they
want to be the one that looks best.
Yeah.
Well, I hadn't thought about that.
But we do have more and more recommendations. Yeah.
So you're award winning, recognised as disruptive, but in some good ways. I mean, the brands you've worked with and been recognised by and so on are envious to anyone who wants to get into this sector. But I always think that business is business, and we can learn so much across all businesses. If you were speaking to any business, what would be the 3 or 4 things that you would say, looking back now, if you were telling yourself when you're first starting out you would do differently, or a key to success? What would they be?
Yeah, well, I do actually quite like the naivety, because it was just quite sweet, you know, that I kind of knew I wanted to do that. And I am a big believer, you may notice, that things kind of, I'm a little bit spiritual as well, right. That things do align with you. You can't push, you should attract, and just always be a great person. And being a great person doesn't mean being a martyr and being so nice that you're trampled on. It means just being decent, standing by what you believe in. Yeah. I probably would get in a CFO quicker than I had done, because I love a little bit of a profit margin. I'm obsessed with it. He's like, see what the difference makes. Yeah. But yes, you know, there are times where I've said it many a time where I'm just like, I don't want to do it anymore. Like, you know, it's enough. It's so hard. But just remembering, if you always keep the fun to it, like, why am I really doing it? So when I'm with my clients, I'm just loving the process. That's the bit I love.
And I guess the reverse of that is not getting sucked into or trapped into doing it the way it's always been done, just because it's got to be done that way, because you can never love it if you're trapped. You have
to go with your heart. Be like, oh, but no one's done it like this. That's great. That's great news that no one's done it like that before. No one wants to, because it's very cringy if you're trying to just create something because you're like trying to shake up the world. Like, I'm going to go and be a disruptor, because then you look like a bit of a twit. Really.
And I don't know where I put the phone, but talking about spirituality, amazingly, just before you walked in, and we were talking about, Chris was talking about his grand business, different things going on, and I was saying, you know, sometimes you just got to stop pushing and you'll attract. And then you said exactly the same thing, and so I've made a note, because that's going to be my post for the group tomorrow. I kind of think, stop pulling, you start attracting; pushing, you start attracting, because sometimes we push so hard, or we push away our own dreams because we've got to be a certain way, and actually sometimes we just got to stop, breathe, think, and let it be the way it is.
Absolutely.
But what would you stop doing, or what would you not do of your past if you had it at a time again?
Stop stressing. It always works out. My actual thing in my head every day is like, everything works out for me. I'm so lucky. Everything just always works out. I attract amazing opportunities, clients, and how lucky am I?
Do you have mantras like that, or is it just...
I think it's important, because actually... that was my, not downfall, but I made life a bit of a misery for myself because I genuinely wake up every day fearing something. Again, childhood stuff. You know, I think working on yourself as a person and your beliefs is essential for business because, you know, there are days where you feel like this isn't going so well and you've got to be your own best cheerleader, so you have to believe in yourself. And, you know, I think people think, oh, that successful person's just every day confident, smashing it out of the park, and it's just not true, you know, because there are times when you're like, I just want to lie in bed.
Everyone's like that. Everyone is having those demons, those scared moments. And, you know, I genuinely believe this now, having been a profile for many years and being passionately interested in people and why do they do these things. Prime ministers, presidents, they've all got insecurities. They all worry. Yeah. They all pretend not to look at the numbers, but the numbers are there, sort of thing. In fact, often I'll say to people, channel your toddler. In many ways, one, because toddlers are naive. They don't know where the danger is. They're not worried about it because they didn't know about it. They don't know that they're not good salespeople, so they become good. So if you say to your toddler, you know, they say, oh, can we do this today? No. Why not? Well, because I'm busy. Why? And often what happens is we grow up, we become adults, and we stop being naive. We stop challenging. We stop asking why. Yeah. And all the things that really...
absorbing everyone's crap and negativity.
Well, and we fit in.
Yeah.
Fit in.
And, it's interesting when people, you know... Just one example, I said, oh, my neck hurts. Well, I'm not telling anyone... Well, I've told a lot of people on this podcast now, but I'm not telling anyone this anymore. Oh, it's your age. All downhill from here. Oh, so I'm going to take that on as a belief that I'm basically just in a steady, steep decline now until I just die. Great. You know, so it's like, that's nice, filter it out, and just back to naivety of like, I'm going to do that because I just want to. I'm not going to worry if I don't have enough money. And actually, what I've noticed is that if you make the decision and the decision you're compelled to, everything falls into place. The money.
It doesn't. An age, it becomes cliche to say age is a number. But just yesterday evening, I was having a quick pre-call with a guy who can do a podcast in later in the year. He's just off to the States and he's going to row. They're trying to break a record. He's got all sorts of records. But he was the CEO of Porsche and Lamborghini and different things. Kevin. And is he one of your customers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. So 66 years old.
Oh, he looks amazing.
3,000. He is in great shape. It made me feel unfit. 3,200 miles from California to Hawaii. They're setting off. My God.
So cool.
And I've done mountains and marathons and things like that. And it made me think, I've got to do another challenge. And what was interesting was, and so we did this ad that we'll put out next week or so, and we'll do one when they come back. There was no doubt in his mind he's going to do that. I mean, he's going with his son and 3 other people. I would almost be more worried if I was them, who are half his age, because Jesus, the energy. Now, he isn't saying I'm 66, I'm worried, we'll see how I get on. He said, there's no lack of belief in his mind.
Yeah, I admire that.
And it's sort of done before it's done. You know, you sometimes hear people, when they have their best game of tennis or their best sale or whatever it is, it was actually done before they started because their mentality was right, their focus was right. Yeah, there's some training, there's some physicality, but it starts and finishes in the brain.
Definitely. Law of assumption. Yeah, like I went for another course, London College of Fashion, and I came home and I went, I've got a place. My mum went, oh, don't say that just in case. I went, I've got it. And the next week, letter came. I went, I told you I got it. And sometimes that's seen as arrogance. Just
back to that naivety, but it's...
I want to be there. I am there.
Yeah, it's a visuality. It's all those positives. If you could look back in 20 years, what will you have achieved at that point? So looking forward to think back.
I'd love to.
What's your I suppose, put it a different way. What's your unachieved ambitions that you will achieve?
Essentially, to create a lifestyle brand, not to the levels of Ralph Lauren, but something very elite. So the best in tailoring, where it's like very personalised, like a members club vibe, where it's like invite only, but it's really special and unique. That's what I'm working towards. So.
Not working towards. Going to happen. It's going to happen.
I'm not working towards. It's done.
It's done. We're just not there yet. But,
time for lunch.
Well, listen. What a great place. We have been talking for about 45 minutes, believe it or not. So it's going good. Listen, check out Alexandra Wood. If you want to look hot, if you want to look amazing, that's her passion in life, that's her purpose in life. If you've enjoyed it as much as I have today, please like, share, subscribe, and come back to another episode of Success is a System.